decent start, right? It was a pretty good day number one. They were like, it's decent.
I mean, look, by their standards, they would have loved to win 6 in a row, right? They've already done it in a major. Why not try things out on land? You got halfway there. But listen, we have 6 games today. Maybe we can try and push out another 3, get 6 wins on land. And I mean, again, the fact that they have 3 victory royales on land environment back-to-back is insane.
You know, I mean, obviously, it's very, very easy for us to talk about the Victory Royales. But look at the other games there, Manny, right? This graph does a great job of showing off just how well they played in every single game.
Yeah, it's something I spoke about at the end of the day yesterday. The games that they're having when they're not winning are still absolutely amazing, especially that last game as well, the way that it was Queasy and Swizzy were able to sort of clutch up, find all those eliminations, find all those placements. As a duo, just gives this team so much firepower. No matter what happens, they always seem to make it work. And the way that they talk in interviews, the way that Queasy talks, so confident, so calm. Let's hope they can bring that into today.
Man, for Queasy to walk away with a global champion title with this crowd behind him, I mean, there could not be anything better than that. Let's take a look at some of the damage numbers from the trio. We took a look and broke kind of things down, looking at them, looking at everybody else. So let's take a look. Yeah, Merstash, okay, all right, 3K damage. Swizzy, 2.2. I mean, guys, they're leading the pack.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, the revolver is such a valuable item for a lot of the teams, right? And we often see a lot of players using it in conjunction with a shotgun, using it like a sort of double pump format.
Yeah.
But the way that these guys are using these is so impressive. Mustache in particular, he didn't get a single amount of damage with a shotgun yesterday. Like, only using that revolver, and I think that's what we saw so much of them yesterday, up on that high ground, using that revolver, because of course when you ADS with it, it has that smaller sort of spread, right? So you can hit closer shots, or you can hit further shots with a lot closer of that spread, therefore doing a lot of damage. So Mustache absolutely popping off with it.
I mean, obviously did such a good job, right? We're kind of talking about how easy it was for them to kind of get up on the high ground. You do have to hold it. You do have to apply the pressure, and I feel like Merstash just played it perfectly, right? You're talking about the distance that revolver kind of gives you in that sense. Always distance between him and his opponents. It was always perfect. That's why he's topping the damage charts right now.
I love that, but I guess the question is, obviously we've had a day, a night to kind of refresh ourselves, look at everything that's going on. Could we see the lobby try and contest this trio for height? Is today that time?
I think yes. It's something I've been saying a lot. I've been speaking to a lot of the fans in the arena. I'm speaking to a lot, of course, everyone else that's here. And I do think they're going to get contested at some point today, right? Yeah. I think there's going to be a team that maybe catches up a little bit, tries to close the gap on the team. And that's, of course, the easy way to go about that, of course, you know, to try and take out your nearest competition. But this is Queasy, this is Swizzy, this is Mustache. They would have prepared for that outcome.
Yeah, that's what I'll be looking forward to, right? I hope that nobody kind of lands on them, right? Kind of messes up the early game, because I do want to see them kind of perform in the end game, kind of continue to show us that consistent performance. But hey, listen, if it does happen, I'll be excited to see if they prepared anything specifically for it.
Man, I'm just reliving yesterday of the highlight moments from the trio, man. They just looked so good, so clean. Everything they were doing was executed so well, Vivid.
I mean, yeah, it was just played to perfection, and the thing that I love is how adaptable they were, right? As you can see right here, getting height for them was the easy part. Holding it is a different story, but they also make that look easy. As you can see right here, they decided to go ahead and beef up a bottom layer of the high ground, and then have 2 players actually play a couple of extra layers above that. Strategically speaking, right, in the game right now, there's Flowberry Fizz in the game, you've got the crash bed, so players can actually launch up to the high ground very easy. So playing that double layered height is very good to kind of prevent that from happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having that the distance between 2 layers so valuable. If someone does decide to try and launch pad up, maybe using the crash pad to try and get their way up, they can just deal with it so easily. And again, we saw it with Mustache with that revolver just swatting everyone that's deciding to come on up, making it so simple for them. And then in another game, they decide not to, but they're very adaptable with it.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see right here, they go with a different strategy. They keep Queasy and Merstache up on the high ground, but then Swizzy drops down. He's going to be the one kind of holding down the batches for the trio, right? He's going to be one in the face of all of the trios below them, making sure that they feel his presence in the lobby. Now, these type of plays, adapting to the lobby, it could be a material-based thing, right? If they don't have enough materials to kind of do that double layer, they might do something like this, but it's like Obviously, we know they're going to go for high ground, but if you look at every single one of the games, they almost play high ground differently just based on how the lobby's going.
Yeah, they do. And even when they're going to set up for high ground, the setup for it is so good. I saw them in so many occasions, just not necessarily being right up above the rest of the lobby in that sort of 7th zone. They decided to do it in the 8th zone. They try and get up there at that point. In some of the games they were, some of the games they weren't. They were sort of behind hills, trying to stay out of line of sight. Every single time they go into a game, they approach it differently. Height is not the same in every single moment. So these guys are just adaptability kings at the moment. Hopefully they can continue today in sort of other areas of the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what better time to force adaptation than in day 2, right? And I love that you guys are kind of highlighting these things, because that means, you know, if we come into day 2 and everyone's saying, we're just going to take height from Queasy, we'll contest them, it's not going to be that easy, right? This guy came in and did what he did in this environment, at these stakes, with this crowd. And the fact that Swizzy, you know, we kind of have seen his history in previous times, not being able to play with his correct duo, trio partners at the time, right? And then comes in with his actual team members, and look at the performance he's putting on.
I mean, we talked about it, right? A lot of pressure on their shoulders, just simply based on the fact that a lot of people kind of had them towards the top of their prediction list. And I can't lie, many, they are rising to the occasion.
Yeah, they definitely are.
So good. All right. Of course, we've talked about Queasy. We've talked about Swizzy. Why don't we hear from Merstash? Because Frankie is standing by with him right now.
We had to grab Merstash after yesterday's performance. Were you expecting to be top of the leaderboard after day 1?
I knew we are gonna place at least top 3, but that we're gonna win and be above second place by 200 points, no, definitely not.
Are you surprised that none of the other teams here are able to break through that double top in the end game?
Yeah, so it's actually our strat that you can't take our high ground, it's just impossible, like you can't do anything.
It looks that way.
C'est impossible de leur reprendre la hauteur, c'est ce qu'il vient exactement de dire, et il est très confiant. Il pensait pas finir premier mais top 3, donc il est très content de cette performance. Now, how will you keep this consistency in your performance?
So I think we have the same plan, we just changed a little bit so teams around us can grief us, and even like any other teams at Pharah, because I think we can get griefed because teams wants to win as well. So we actually just changed a little bit our plan.
Is the strategy, if people do drop on you at the Hive, basically Swizzy go frag?
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I don't think anyone gonna contest us because it's kind of hard to contest our spot. If you con, you'll die by third party.
Well, there you have it. I've got an exclusive for the analyst desk there. Just send Swizzy in.
You know, if it works, right, Frankie? I mean, Swizzy, again, being that fragger, going absolutely crazy. And I kind of touched on it yesterday, but like my favorite part of these kind of environments is kind of getting to see the players, talk to them directly after those moments of victory, of mess-ups or whatever, and to see every time they get a win. And you kind of see Swizzy like off to the right side. He's just freaking out. He's like just smiling real big because he knows what he's pulled off on the LAN environment. And again, reminder, the past few, he's not been with his proper teammates, so I really appreciate getting to see that side of the players.
Yeah, 100%. I also love to see the side where Merstash is pretty cool, calm, and collected, right? He was talking about it during that interview right there. Hey, listen, you know, we're very, very aware of the fact that the best chance to kind of come for us would be in the early game. If other teams want to win, that's when they're going to come. Of course, they're thinking about that. It sounds like they're prepared.
Yeah, remember, Merstash hasn't been in this position on LAN yet, right? We haven't seen this crazy performance from Merstash on LAN, so he hasn't actually been in a position of dominance after day 1. So I think he'll be previously he would have been in the shoes of the teams that are trying to catch up. Now he's in this brand new position, and I think he's carrying himself really well through that pressure as well, doing great with the fans as well, not letting it affect him, but also enjoying their company as well.
Yeah, man, of course, we just gotta stay the course. Let's keep pushing forward. Don't change up anything, right? Let's talk about the trio in second place. Obviously a big crowd favorite, Vanya. I mean, we heard him anytime he was on screen. You can hear it right now. Marius, Pixie as well. Shout outs to Team Havoc. Shout outs to the M8, of course. These guys are sitting so good right now, of course, coming in, having time to prepare things. I'm excited to see what they might change up for day number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with their day one performance overall. You know, the way that they played. I think if you've been watching a lot of EU this season, or this year, I should say, you know these guys are sort of a height team as well. They like to try and go for height, but they've sort of adapted in this global championship. They haven't been trying to W key height. They know that Queasy's going to be up there. We just broke it down. We know how good they are at holding that position. So they're very adaptable. They have two of the best fraggers in the region, in the world, on this team as well, led by Vanya. So it's a team that has it all. And I think if there's any team that could overtake Queasy in first place, it's these guys. The setup's so good for them off spawn, and they're such a strong team with it.
Obviously a tall task. I love the fact that you kind of bring up the history over on EU, right? Because Z loves to call it the meta within the meta, right? Kind of bringing that to the global stage, because if you are an EU team versus an EU team, you kind of are used to how this is going to go. So that might be something to look at, right? They may be like, hey, listen, we're kind of used to playing for the high end, right? How do we kind of implement that around how Queasy's kind of going for it? But like you also mentioned, they've done a great job at adapting. Loved watching some of their games because they just control the mid ground so easy. They even seem very, very comfortable in that position as well.
I was speaking to Marius a little bit before as well. Of course, his first land, so, you know, how's he feeling, all that sort of stuff before today. And he was saying, I don't think we can catch up Queasy, but we can give it a good go, right? They're going to try their very best, but he's not so confident in the fact they can get first place. But for them, I think it's just about continuing doing what they can do, let them do their thing, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they did such a great job yesterday. Would love to see them kind of continue through that. It kind of felt like towards the later half of the day, Marius was kind of unleashed, right? Kind of creating highlight reels all the way around. But, you know, obviously the end game is very, very important. So is the early game. Something to always keep in the back of their minds. This is where Peterbot's trio was initially going to land over at OXR, right?
Yeah,
Boom.
it was.
The change happens, right? And then, you know, Peterbot, Cold and Ritual, they end up leaving. So they were meant to be contested all 5 games yesterday, but because of how things are kind of going for Cold Ritual and Peterbot Spawn, they actually decided to come one game, something to potentially think about today as well.
Yeah, for sure, but it was very important that Vanya's team actually managed to win that off-spawn fight. I think if they went down there, things would look a lot differently for them throughout the rest of the day. But I mean, we can see it right here, the way they're able to play that sort of low ground section. We've seen them with that minigun as well be so valuable for them. And like you just mentioned, Vivid, Marius, wow, absolutely incredible performance towards the back end of yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously doing very, very well. I love the strategy that they end up implementing, because it's like every single one of their games is very, very similar. They throw a launch pad down in the middle of their POI. They go land in the middle of 4th zone, so they're pretty much guaranteed to pull 5th. And then they just do the classic within the meta right now. Use the Fizz, use the crash pads to go to every single one of the next zones. It's very, very clean, and it's very, very repeatable for the trio.
Okay, so if this trio wanted to try and strike first, right, what can they hope to do to try and catch up Queasy? I mean, Queasy's got a lead, right? But Queasy starts to play this out well. If he makes a mistake, this opens a big door for Vanya.
The problem is, Queasy and Mistake this weekend, they're kind of opposites, right? We haven't really seen that happen from that team. So, you know, I think realistically for this team, they do have to play out their own game at the very beginning. I would be very surprised if they end up contesting Queasy in game number 1. I do not see that happening for this team in particular. They have to keep up doing what they're doing. They're performing very well in their own regard. So they have to be confident in their own end games. If by game 10, 11, 12, they start looking and thinking, maybe this is our only option, maybe they'll have to go on over there, maybe third party them land nearby. It's going to be tough for them, but like I said earlier, they just have to play their own game.
Man, oof, I'm excited. You guys got me amped up. Of course, we have a moment here. Why don't we check in with Vanya, see how he's doing? Frankie, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I am here with Vanya Boo Boo. And first of all, how do you have so much aura?
I mean, it's just M8 fans. It's not me.
I think it may be a bit of both. Let's talk about the game you're playing at the moment. Second on the leaderboard. A win is possible at the end of today. But the game that you're playing is one I don't associate with you with, the low ground. Tell me how you've started to adapt things.
I mean, we tried to take a ground 2 games, and it's not worked for us. So we just played from low ground, but we'll try something different today.
So maybe going for height again.
Yeah.
Très intéressant. Déjà, il dit que c'est les Fanamune qui lui donnent beaucoup d'énergie. Et il parlait du low ground qui l'a beaucoup aidé. Ils ont joué 2 parties hier avec. Ça les a vachement aidés. Mais aujourd'hui, ils ont peut-être changé de stratégie. So, today, what do you expect? Do you expect to do victory royals or more consistently things you aim?
Yeah, we'll try to win like at least 3 games, because we need to try to get like first place today, so we'll try our best.
Marius especially was really picking up momentum towards the end of the day yesterday. Are you feeling hot to go, warmed up and ready?
Yeah, we are so ready.
I think he is. Just look at Vanya's eyes. Let's head back to the desk.
You know, I am even more a fan of Vanya than I already was, and that was specifically because of the M8 fans and them chanting Vanya Boo Boo. So I'm on board. Whenever you guys want to chant that, you feel free. Obviously, they're locked in, right? And it's interesting that he says we have to come out and win 3 games, right? I like that the ceiling or like the bar is not like, oh, we just need to like be consistent. We need to do this. We need that. No. We need to do what Queasy did and win 3 games.
Yeah, I love that as well, right? Kind of teeing it up. Hey, you're going to kind of play consistently, kind of do what you were kind of doing yesterday. It worked very, very well, put you in 2nd place. He's like, nah, we got to win 3 games. And I love the fact, you know, how can they do that? Minimatter, do they go for the higher ground? I mean, I don't know.
I think they do. I think they have to take a few risks now. They've been playing very, very sort of low ground sort of play style, which is working very well for them. But we know how good they are at height, right? So, you know, there is an opportunity for them to take it. Maybe if Queasy has a bad game, goes down early, they have to make that game count. And I think that's going to be the most crucial thing for them, is when Queasy's not in the lobby, they're not getting points. Vanya's team, they have to make points.
Of course, that was great and all, guys. I also want to talk about the trio in 3rd place right now. Seti, Yapko, Panzer.
Yep.
Seti in 3rd place going into day number 2. Oh my gosh, could I be more excited? Of course, I'm upset there's no NA in the top 3, but it's fine, don't worry about it. We have 6 games. The trio looking very, very strong right now, Vivid.
I love to see this because it feels like, you know, for both Cammy and Seti, of course, their names were just synonymous together, and there was this big question mark on how they were going to do when they actually split. Clearly, right now, actually, for both of the trios, they were doing very, very well yesterday. Obviously, being in 3rd place, performing a little bit better, is going to be Seti, but, you know, throw it all the way back to Invitational. That was so long ago, and the fact that Seti is still up here, competing on the global stage and doing very, very well, just awesome to see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have had this team a little bit lower down on their predictions after day number 1, because they look at the drop map, they think, yep, contested, you know, they're still going to get middle of the pack. And especially with Cammy and Seti's history, we sort of know that team is not the greatest off-spawn fighting team, so a lot of people had questions. Now, Cammy has split with Seti. How are things going to go for them off-spawn? And things have been going really, really well for them as, in terms of day number 1, so I'm really excited to see what this team can do now.
I mean, you want to talk about storylines, right? Yapko kind of coming in last globals to kind of be that sub player, picked up a top 10 himself, kind of Seti scouting out that, like, whoa, wait a minute, that looks pretty good. How can you do that? Yeah, picking up a great piece of talent there. And then, of course, Panzer to fulfill the trio. It's working out perfectly right now.
Now, guys, of course, there's a little bit of an asterisk, right? These guys are contested. Now, it seems like it's working out so far, but if something were to kind of go in the opposite direction, it could spell disaster for the trio. I feel like, based on what we've seen, that shouldn't be the case.
You know, I'm happy that you kind of talk about them being contested, because, you know, me and Minnie kind of sat down last night. We were looking at the games, and it's very, very hard for us to catch everything that kind of happens in the other games because there's so much going on. But it actually turns out Seti, Yapko, and Panzer